So, can you see my presentation?
Yes, yes.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
so I'll just start. So, today's topic is recent trends and development in green technologies for ecological and economic efficiency. So, outline of today's session will be we'll be understanding how technology and society are interrelated, and what are the essential components of technology whenever we design any technology, what are the components we consider before designing it, and how those components can go hand in hand with protection and conservation of environment. So if we understand the components, then we'll be able to understand wherein we'll be able to contribute towards conservation of environment through enhancing essential components and features of the technology. Okay, then we'll study about the systems of technology. What are the different systems and how each system has its own pros and cons, and how it can benefit the environment and how it can harm the environment. And with like it has to be a tailor-made situation. So we need to understand these systems to understand how any kind of problem for which we are enabling any technology to enhance its project activities, that technology can should be tailor made depending upon the kind of situation, the kind of societies problems, or the kind of people who are living there. And then how technology development and environment can contribute to each other. Then what is the evolutionary capacity of technology, how technology has developed over the years, and then constraints in adopting sustainable technology, and what are the latest development in the field of sustainable technology. So starting with the introduction, I hope like you people are already aware where we use the technology. So basic purpose of technology is to produce more or better or cheaper necessary items and to deal with the environmental components. Then we need technology to improve our living standard. So whatever tasks our ancestors were doing, even the kings and queens of earlier times, they were washing their clothes with their hands. Even if they had maids or servants, they used to wash clothes with their hands. But now every house has a washing machine. So technology has made us live a life which is where the standard of living has been enhanced to many degrees compared to what our ancestors were enjoying in earlier times. So then we also produce uniform quality of goods. So if you consider handmade goods, if even by chance you go to the market and you find some very handmade product beautiful, then even if when you look at the other product of the same type, you will see there are some differences in the kind of painting on the regarding the kind of work that has been done. And if you complain, bhaiya ye to same nahi hai, the other person will tell you, ma'am, it's handmade. So what is the quality of handmade and what is the quality of technology? The handmade products will have their every product will be unique in its beauty, in its character, in its quality. And whereas when you produce uniform, when you utilize any technology, even you make sweet dishes with technology or a burger at McDonald's, every burger will be having same quality, same product. So that is because we have standardized all those systems through the use of technology. So when we incorporate technology in any kind of product, be it food item, be it manufactured good, it will have same quality in every unit. And that is the role of quality standards, ISO 9000. If you see, what is the role of ISO 9000? That to ensure that there is equal quality of good in every unit. Then we have eliminated distances and created a global community, materially, psychologically, even virtually. We can talk to any person sitting anywhere in the world. Right now I am giving you a lecture and you people are sitting at different places. So this is also a role of technology. And then we have some negatives also. You already know that because it has become an instrument, very easy to use. So people are exploiting it more than what they should. And then it has also threatened the whole life support system on the earth by disturbing the ecological base. There are many species of plants and animals who are being endangered due to these technological innovations, because we are not aware of what kind of impacts radiations and exposures of infrared radiation is creating on these flora and fauna. But when we get to know, for example, when plastic manufacturing started, plastic was considered boon for the society. Okay, because it was kind of creation of a good from a waste, because the waste oil which was used to be thrown was utilized to make plastic. So everybody was very happy. All scientists were going gaga over all kind of plastic goods. And when they realized how plastic is causing menace in the environment, and how our marine life is getting endangered due to plastic, then the whole cycle changed. Now everybody is going against plastic. So it is not because of a product or because of a technology, it is because of the way we manage that technology and way we utilize that technology. If we are going to over exploit any kind of technology, it is going to make a menace for environment. So objectives of this session, I think, are very clear to you now. So first we'll describe how technology is a necessary evil. I have already given you an example of plastic. Now, if you see green revolution, so green revolution also started with the purpose of producing more and more of crops in the limited resource of land and fertilizers, as well as chemicals, as well as mechanical equipments which we were using for agriculture. Now the scenario changed after green revolution. There was overproduction. Even the crops were getting stale when they were kept in go down. So every technology creates some disturbance in the natural resource space. So you have to see differential treatment has to be given for attaining sustainability. You cannot take any technology and use it for every kind of problem. For every problem, there has to be a tailor-made solution of utilizing that technology, and we'll be studying in this lecture how we can go about it and how we can focus on sustainability while analyzing technological features. So essential components of technology, there are three essential components. One is hardware or software, managementware or peopleware. So either any kind of technology will be having any hardware, or it will be having any software. If it is a IT related product, then it will be like our mobile apps or service providers, which we are having through Zomato or Swiggy or Uber. So these are also kind of technological innovations where transportation is made easier. But what is the drawback? We are utilizing more of less of public transport and more of private transport. So again, every person is going by cab and creating more pollution. But nobody thinks about these apps before launching them, how they will impact the environment. But we as sustainable managers, we as environment professionals, we have to think about how any kind of technology can impact, so that we can make a proper balance between how much this technology should be induced in our society, how many people should be able to utilize this technology to create a balance with the environment. Okay, accordingly we can decide on the pricing and the demand and supply balance. So hardware components include components which have different levels of utility and complexity. It can be a low technology or a village level technology. Like in village, you will be having an cycle repair shops, motor repair shops, but you will not be having any cafe ware or computer repairing shop. So depending upon the kind of people, the kind of manpower which is there available for utilizing that technology, we should take the technology. If I am going to set up some IT industry in a village, it is not going to serve any purpose for the villages, because again I'll be having shortage of manpower, and the people who will be coming to my industry to work, they will not available locally. So they have to travel too far from the place to and fro. So those kind of things should be kept in mind before designing any technology, before establishing any industry and in an area. So what is the local needs? What are my needs, and how I can balance them without hampering much of the components of our environment. Then there can be an intermediate technology, our mobiles are there, which can be understood by anyone. Then there is high technology and advanced technology. Again, in people where we have, when we benefit only ourselves, so then that will be benefit single person only. Then we have operate only, that you have to just operate and you will not be getting any benefit. So the people who are working in the industry, they are working as people where for operate only. Okay. Then we have select, operate and maintain. So there are some projects where you have to select, operate and maintain also. So those are called mechanical peopleware. And then we have engineers who can replicate, who can adapt, who can modify, who can create new technology. So I look at you people as engineers, as sustainable engineers who can identify, modify and replicate new technologies. Okay. Then we have management where. So in management where we decide what should be the, how we have to manage the technology. Now we have created a technology, we have created hardware, we have software, but many at times best of the technologies fail because of the lack of management they involve, and the lack of managerial abilities in our engineers. So engineers are good at designing, good at replicating, adapting, modifications. But when it comes to management, they don't know ABC about that. So that's why nowadays so many engineers are taking up MBA after completing their engineering degrees. Why? Because when they go to industry, more than engineering, they require management skills. How much should be the scale of technology? For example, if there is a biogas plant, it should be a decentralized system. If a centralized system is enabled on biogas technology, it will not work. And why? I'll let you know after a few slides. And then we have type of resources, which are again which again determine what kind of mineral, what kind of manpower, what kind of natural resources we need. So all these raw materials again need to be managed, how their supply chain is to be ensured. And then place of implementation, as I already told you, any kind of industry looks at the place of its implementation before establishing itself, so that it can get maximum benefit due to the benefits of its location, to the advantages it can get due to its from its location. So we have a system of technology, and what is the objective of selection? When we go for selection of system of a technology, there are different kind of systems. For example, centralized versus decentralized system of technology. So when I select either of them, what should be my objective? My objective should be, I should combine all the various kind of technology system to ensure that I could get maximum efficient and judicious utilization of resources. Okay. So if I am utilizing resources in inefficient way, it is not going to work sustainably. It is going to go to a high graph for some time, and then the production and the profits will go down. So there has to be equitable distribution of services. So if I'm going to provide services of Zomato, Swiggy and Uber in a village area, it won't give me any benefits. There will not be any customers. So we have to distribute services as per requirement of our consumers, as per requirement of customers. And then it should be equitable distribution. ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने एक जगह एक लगा दिया, 4 लोगों को एक जगह ऐप दे दिया और बाकी जगह कुछ नहीं है, तो भी मेरा बिजनेस नहीं चलेगा. Then we have to have least pressure on the resource base, so that we can ensure sustainability. If I'm going to create more pressure on resource base, if I'm going to establish a bottling plant in a drought prone area, in an area where our groundwater is overexploited, then after 1 or 2 months, I have to shift my industry because I won't get any groundwater which I can bottle in my plant. Okay. So again, from criteria of selection of system of technology, we have to consider raw material, labor, mechanization, scale, purpose, and integration. So there can be a non-mineral based technology. अगर आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी में मिनरल्स नहीं रिक्वायर्ड है और सारे आपके बायोलॉजिकल ओरिजिन के रॉ मटेरियल्स रिक्वायर्ड है, then there has to be different strategy of management. How it can be a renewable and perpetual energies can be used. The products and byproducts जो आप निकालने वाले हो, whether they are biodegradable or whether they are going to pose any threat to environment, what amount of waste you are going to generate, to take care of the waste generated. Whether you are, for example, if you have to establish a hospital, you have to take permission for biomedical waste management. You have to hire a authorized recycler for biomedical waste management. So any kind of business, any kind of industry, any kind of establishment has to take care of all these features to ensure sustainability. अब मैं एक जगह अगर हॉस्पिटल लगा देती हूँ टू गिव बेनिफिट टू द सोसाइटी, बट आई डोंट हैव एनी ऑथराइज्ड रिसाइकलर ऑफ बायोमेडिकल वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट in nearby area, then my transportation cost of waste will be very high. And every time it has to, the waste will be produced. If it is in a hospital, it has to be produced and it has to be managed as well. So all these costs and all those aspects should be integrated into the project right at the inception of the project. Okay, so it will be beneficial for you to identify what will be the pros and cons of my industry and how my technology will be sustainable. Then you have to determine what are the environmental footprints, how much carbon credits I'm going to generate. Okay, and how much carbon I'll be generating, how much greenhouse gases I'll be generating through my project. So all those should be captured even before the project starts so that you can ensure sustainability. Then again, we have examples of technology like organic farming, production of biofuels, enzymatic pathways of processing, microbial processing. These are all non-mineral based technology. They are not based on any kind of mineral available in our environment. Then you have automation or mechanized technologies. In automation, every task has to be performed and availability of labor has to be checked. Requirement of precision is there, requirement of timing is there, and all computer operated solar receivers, they are required for automation. Then we have high risk of waves emanating from our automated systems. So because then there will be a limitation of space. So when there is limitation of space and you need high quantity of production, then mechanization is advisable. So for example, we are digging a pond, then benefits of non-mechanized technologies are more. So because we have availability of labor force, we have better distribution of economic benefits of the project, social benefits of the project are more. And again, if we have agriculture in a developing country like India, because we have fragmented lands, especially in hilly areas. If you go to Himachal, there are very short plots of land left with people, with our farmers. So what kind of technology can help them grow more crops or more vegetables in those fragmented lands? While you come in Punjab, there are still vast plots available, vast availability of land is there for agriculture. Then whether there is abundant labor force available and whether there are drought animals available, then organic matter or bioresources are available in nearby areas, then you should club it with your agricultural practices. You should go for organic farming rather than chemical based farming or fertilizer based farming. So all those things determine how much automation and mechanization you should incorporate in a project. Then we have case study of what treatment plants. If you see centralized versus decentralized technologies, so when this the wave of cleaning wastewater started, they were all centralized STPs. near the riverbeds of our country. So all those STPs are now not working to their efficiency. That's why we are having so much pollution in our rivers. But what were the reason? Because the wastewater generated from different households, cottage industries, and they contributed to the domestic sewage load, and the quality and quantity for which the wastewater technology was designed was not ensured when the wastewater was generated from whole of the city. Okay, now I designed a treatment plant based on MBBR technology, and I designed for an efficiency like if BOD is 40,000, I will reduce it to 5,000, or as per standards I have to go it reduce it to less than 30 milligram per liter before discharging it into any stray drain or river. So then again I have to see what should be my input quality of water, what will be the output quality of water, and what will be the components in my system, what should be the size of every component, what technology I'll be incorporating. If I am going for MBBR, what are the positives of those technologies and what are the negatives, and when I get the sludge, where I'm going to treat the sludge. So what happens if the technology fails? The input input तो आपका वही हाई इनपुट आपका हाई चला गया, जो आपने सोचा था उससे हाई चला गया, तो ऑब्वियसली आउटपुट पे भी वो एफिशिएंसी नहीं डिसाइड हो पाएगी. Then again, if you don't have any management of sludge, again if you are disposing that sludge into the river water, then the whole point of wastewater treatment will go blank. Okay, so it will come to nothing. So then the technology will be blamed for not functioning well. But the problem here lies with management, where we should go for centralized, where we should go for decentralized technologies. For example, if there is a government body which is controlling all aspects of that technology in that area, we should go for centralized, because we will get like our engineers will be get educated professionals will be there to manage that technology. Then in case of decentralized system, there is an option of reuse, like people who are using decentralized wastewater technologies, they reuse the water that is treated in their wastewater treatment plants, because the taboo which is there with treated wastewater is too much in our country. So in many countries, in Singapore and in Dubai, they use the treated wastewater for even drinking purposes after treating it through RO. But in our country, there is a psychological hindrance and there is a taboo behind using treated water for drinking purposes. But there are many other purposes. We can use it for agriculture. You can use it for landscape, horticulture, even for industrial washing, for water supply to construction industry. And those kind of concepts are being utilized these days through environment impact assessment while granting environment clearance. If you see conditions of environment clearance given to some industries, there is written you will reuse the treated water for construction purposes. So these are the drivers for decentralized technology: bulk of the load, quantity of sewage. When there is limitation of space, time, willingness, and cost, then also we go for decentralized system. Then you have treatment of huge amount of wastewater at a time. Then the centralized system comes into your escape. Then you have relative space and time, and you have cost requirement, you have adequate funds and budget provided from central body. So there is a funding available for the complete sewage treatment plant or wastewater treatment plant. Yes. Hello. Yeah. Somebody saying something? Okay. So there are other examples of centralized technology like consumption of milk and agriculture-based products and power generation. These are all centralized products. The biggest example is nuclear power plants, which involves a risk in case of accident. So you will never find any nuclear power plant in a decentralized manner. Okay, so it is always a centralized project. So then you come, if you compare individual versus collective technologies, what are their benefits? If you go for collective projects, the collective projects come to your benefit when there is a kind of collective benefit which you are getting from the project, and when you have you have a common asset. For example, you have shamlat lands in villages. These are called community lands, which are held under the control of panchayat and sarpanches. So in under those projects, if I am going to establish a centralized project, it will hamper the whole structure of village, and also the kind of benefits villagers can identify from that project will not be determined by the centralized body. Okay, so for such projects, collective projects, we should always go for collective technologies like community pond, community biogas plant, check dam, community rainwater harvesting structure, and our waste watershed development projects in India are the major examples. So if you go to Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, there are many watershed projects implemented by a rural development board in these areas. Then our public transport system is also an example of collective project. Then if you compare individual versus collective technologies, then benefits of community or collective technologies are different. For example, if efforts, cost, labor, and benefits which are borne by all individuals of the community and society. So it is not an individual who is getting benefit or from that project. Even the asset, even the land, even the pond where the land is, the location of pond uh, is under the control of community asset, under the Shamlat land. Then there is no other option. You have to go for community and collective technologies. Then if you are establishing an individual projects, what should be the characteristic? So even for an individual project, obviously the benefits and inputs will be governed by the individual. He will have complete control over what kind of technology he wants to have, how much land he wants to dedicate for the project, and he'll be having least priority for the societal benefits. He will consider just his own benefits, his own profits and losses. So that is the problem with individual projects. And in this way, collective technologies are more sustainable. But sometimes like if I'm going to purchase a car, I'll purchase for my own. I'm not going to contact four other people to give me some funds for purchasing the car, because then I will have to share that car with other people as well. So there are some technologies where there is no other option. You have to go buy it individually. So the individualistic technology system follows the principle of not in my backyard. Okay, so not in my backyard concept is that if you are causing if you want any waste to be treated, you are not going to put in my backyard. Take some other land. Maybe it is my waste as well, but I am not going to take the responsibility. Maybe I am driving a car, I am creating pollution in the environment, but if it comes to pollution tax, I will be the first person to go for against it. Okay, why? Because I don't take it as my own responsibility, and that is the reason why pollution is increasing day by day. Okay, so there are so many technologies which are which are based on individualistic technology system, but the problem those technologies are created are nobody's problem. Okay, everybody is telling it is not in my backyard, it is your backyard. So we have to see from that point of view also. So if I'm launching a technology, if I'm giving green signal for my plastic manufacturing, how it is going to create an impact after years of creating waste. So that nobody had ever thought plastic will do so much major damage to the environment. So again, single purpose versus multi-purpose. Always, most of the times, multi-purpose is better, because you will utilize many resources for production of that technology. And when you use it for one purpose and for other purposes, again, you will be utilizing other technologies and more raw material, more consumerism will be there. So but sometimes it is a limitation that, for example, a spanner, a non-adjustable spanner with a specified number of hits will be utilized only for few purposes. A simple printer is meant for printing on some limited types of papers. Okay, but when I enhance my printer's features, its cost also increases. So some people may not be able to even buy it because of their financial constraints, of their economic power. So I have to decide what I have to launch and how much impact it is going to create and how those impacts will be managed. Otherwise it will backfire on my technology, that this technology is a total disaster. Okay, so that should not be the case when we are designing the technology. Again, single purpose technology includes a tractor, like a earlier a tractor used to perform certain activities, but now you can see tractors in the market which are performing a variety of agricultural tasks because they have new kind of adjustments and attachments given with them. So for, yeah, they can also be used for plugging, sowing, threshing, grain grinding, transport. So that is a benefit. Okay, so if I am having an adjustable spanner, it will fit a range of nuts of different sizes, and I will be required to carry just one adjustable spanner. So similarly, earlier we used to have camera separately, printer separately, computer separately. Now, if you buy a good version of mobile Android phone, you will be having all features in that mobile phone. You can also talk, you can also click pictures, you can save your data, you can do video calls, you can do audio calls. You don't need any other microphone or attachment. A single phone can serve all the purpose. So again, we sometimes that's why those earlier cameras are now outdated, because everything is in your mobile. So sometimes it also creates benefit and reduces the waste. For e-waste, for example, is getting reduced due to all the features which are enhanced in your mobile, a number of apps which can be created through for utilization in your mobile. Then so we have broadly discussed all these systems of technology. Now, non-mineral based versus mineral based technologies, automation versus labor intensive technologies, centralized versus decentralized technologies, individual versus collective, single purpose versus multi-purpose. So these are different kind of systems of technology. So whenever you design a product, you have to see what kind of system you are going to incorporate, and accordingly what kind of management, manpower, and technological advancements you will require. So this is the how the evolution started for technological development and incorporation of environment along with the technology. So earlier there was just a need of the technology, then design and manufacture started. Then we realized that it is generating some byproduct, waste and pollution. And then this again caused depletion of non-renewable natural resources, and indirect and long-term effects started like global warming. And now fewer disturbances, a technology creates maximum benefit it reduces. So we have identified how technology and how its chain of activities causes pollution, depletion, and long-term impacts. And then we identify how a sustainable technology should be there. So a technology should be sustainable when it uh, gives you maximum benefits, it is distributed in the society, and it gives sustainability to the environment. It causes least impacts to the environment compared to the other technologies and other ways which were being used earlier before that technology came into picture. So this is the evolutionary capacity, how we are going to create a technology. So you have to go with development of a tool to perform a specific task. That dominance of that machine took place, which are complex tools operated by humans and powered with energy. So that in addition to muscular energy, you have to use more of energy, less of your muscular energy, so that increases your production, and less manpower is required. So it again helps through automation, which is the element of human control of machines through automatic algorithms. Okay, so all kind of automatic telephone switches, timers, pacemakers, which we utilize in our heart surgeries. These are all automated systems. So, what kind of sustainable technology should be there? It can be efficient. If it is efficient, it is utilizing. For example, nowadays you will see there are so many equipments. If even if you buy an air conditioner, so earlier nobody used to think about how much stars are there on that air conditioner. Now everybody knows how much power rates are increasing day by day, and again how much power needs to be saved. So everybody tries to find a higher star rated product. Okay, from BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, have given a star rating system to most of the technological technology producing companies who are involved in like equipments, electrical equipments like air conditioners, refrigerators, inverters. Okay, even the your mobile, if it is a long, it can take up charge for a longer period. It will be considered more advanced version. Okay, so a technology may be very efficient in processing of material or energy, and those technologies are called efficient technology. So efficiency is if it was designed for example, LED also. You will LED now. First there was fluorescent lamps, then CFL came, now LED came. Why? And LED is higher in cost than all of them. Still, people are using it because it will long life is more, and the kind of savings it helps you make are more than any other lamp. Okay, so that's why you are convenient in using LED lamps in comparison to CFLs or fluorescent lamps. Then with increasing efficiency, the generation of waste will be minimized. Now, if you are using one lamp for 2 years, earlier we were using for every 1 or 2 months, after every 1 2 month, fluorescent lamp needed to be replaced. And it was utilizing more power. Okay, so the kind of e-waste it was creating was more. Now LED is creating less of e-waste and giving you more of efficiency. So it is a sustainable technology in that way. Okay. So if you are designing some sustainable technology, you have to see either of these three features should be there. Then only your technology is going to be sustainable. So then you have environmental technologies. Environmental technologies who are completely dedicated to an environment, to solving an environment pollution or environment problem or a challenge which is being faced by the society in terms of environment quality. So alternate technologies for the same product whose waste have least pollution potential. Okay, use of HFCs. For example, in our air conditioners also, the gas which was earlier used was HFCs, which was a greenhouse gas. Now they are sorry, earlier it was CFC. Now they are using it for HFC. So the kind of greenhouse potential potential which was there in CFC was 10,000 times more than HFC. Then in detergents also, we are having non-phosphate detergents these days. Okay, the technology is specially meant for pollution control come under these categories. Okay, so eco technologies, green technologies, again, for example, now the earlier we used to have a big generator in every street, and it used to cause so much noise pollution, and black fumes used to come out of its stack. But nowadays every house, every hotel, every hospital has generator set which is e-generator, eco generator. Okay, so in that eco generator you have acoustic enclosure all over the body of the generator, so that no noise can be felt by a person even who is standing there near it. तो और उसके अलावा they have a proper designed stack for monitoring purposes, so that if it is causing pollution you will get to know. And then there are stipulations and regulations by the local state level body as well as CPCB about the frequency, about the regular monitoring of that equipment. Okay, so all these things are helping us to create green technology. Then you have constructed wetlands for treatment of waste, bioremediation using microbes, plants, biopesticides. So these are all different fields where you can work in future, where you can give your inputs, where you can collaborate for some R&D projects in future. Okay. So what is appropriate technology? Now, if you see, literal meaning of appropriate is it should take care of environment, social, political, cultural, ethical. All aspects should be in balance. Then only it is called appropriate technology. And the concept came when a book named Small is Beautiful by Schumacher was written in 1973, where he proposed that use of technology in any culture should be as per the needs and resources of the community who wants to use it. Okay, if people in my society are not ready to use rainwater harvesting, and they are going to block the drains where the rainwater is going to pass through for collection in a pit, or a rainwater harvesting pit is going to be dumped with solid waste, then it is not going to serve the purpose of rainwater harvesting technology. So it has to be consulted with the people. The needs of the people should be identified, and then we should, if they are not able to appreciate the applicability of a technology, we should first motivate them, increase their awareness, bring them to a level of association, and then utilize that technology so that it becomes appropriate to their needs. Because they are everywhere, there is a scarcity of water, groundwater is going down throughout our country, throughout the world. Okay, because of the burden which is being created by the population. But no, there are still many people who feel that हमारे एरिया में तो पानी की कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, हमारे तो नलके में पानी आ रहा, why should we invest more on rainwater harvesting? Why should we go for better water treatment systems? Why? But they have to be made aware. They have to be told about the global problems, about the risk in future of degrading water quality, about the kind of TDS parameters, about the water quality parameters, BOD, COD, which can be there in their water, and how rainwater can help in dilution of those pollutants, in recharging of the groundwater, in increasing the level of groundwater. Even when groundwater goes down by 1 meter, 1 unit power consumption increases, because you have to pump from more depth. Okay, so if people are going to understand these concepts, they will be ensuring, okay, अच्छा मेरी बिजली ज़्यादा लगेगी पानी निकालने में, तो I will ensure that the water level doesn't drops. Okay. So there should be maximum dependency on local material if you have appropriate technology, minimum requirement of natural resources. Then you should appreciate local skills. People who are sitting around you, they should be made a part of your project so that it can be appreciated and enhanced through their skills. Then it should be optimally scaled to the affordable for the community. Okay, if it is not affordable by the community, then it is not an appropriate technology. And decentralization should be definitely promoted, because it gives you an optimal scale, and people can be brought together to work collectively, and it can be controlled by local people. So the concept of sustainable technology, I'm sure you can appreciate this concept now, considering whatever we have discussed so far. In an integrated system of technology, should be an integrated system. Judicious use of resources should be there. Ecological integrity should be there. Maximum assistance of natural processes should be taken care. Then ethical and cultural considerations should be taken care. So what are the constraints? Now we know what is the technology, how it can be made sustainable, what are its benefits. Then why are not we using it? Why are not we developing it? Why are we developing unsustainable technology in the first place, and then trying to replace it with sustainable technologies? Because in the first place, there was lack of technical knowledge. There was lack of political will. There was lack of managerial and organizational structure. And the most important of all, there was lack of innovation. Okay, so when either of these ingredients are lacking in your recipe, then you are not going to make a product of sustainable technology. You are going to make an unsustainable technology, which will be appreciated by the society for few days, for some period, and then it will go off track. So for making it sustainable, we have to see the length of time which is needed to translate a good idea into a workable product. Okay, most of the time, research and development projects go for years. Why? Because you need that amount of input, you need that amount of study to decide whether that project can be really sustainable. And if we find shortcuts in that, then we might create an unsustainable technology. Then there should be traditions, ethical norms, religions, taboos. Now I told you about a taboo which is there for utilizing treated water for some purposes in our society. So those kind of taboos again help like create a challenge to us for creating sustainable technology. Then managerial, how much people are required, how cost effectiveness is there. So all those concepts need to be understood before going for a sustainable technology. So the two problems are there as per Collingridge dilemma. Collingridge dilemma is that on one hand we have information problem, on the other hand we have power problem. Okay, so information problem is that impacts of new technologies cannot be easily predicted. जब तक वो टेक्नोलॉजी यूज नहीं होती, जब तक प्लास्टिक यूज नहीं हुआ, और जब तक प्लास्टिक हमारे सोसाइटी के हर एक नाव में, हर एक सेक्टर में, हर एक एस्पेक्ट में घुस नहीं गया, till then we were not able to understand what is the drawback it is going to create for the environment. And then on the contrary, we have control or change of technology is different. When we create a technology and it is widespread, then we find it very difficult to change the technology. That is a power problem. So these are two constraints of sustainable technology as per Collingridge dilemma. Now, what are the latest benchmarks? Nowadays, if we determine sustainability earlier, people used to go for environment-friendly projects or think about environment only when they were charged a fine. Okay, only when the industry was denied consent to operate, consent to establish, or environment clearance, then they used to think, okay, let me introduce some environment friendly concepts so that the people who are there in the committee to give environment clearance, they will give me an environment clearance. So I will go and tell them I am going to take up Terry Griha concept in my project. I am going to make a green building. I am going to do rainwater harvesting. So they started taking up sustainability, environment friendly technologies just to ensure that their project keeps on running. Okay, but nowadays eco efficiency has come into picture. So if you are making a more commercially successful company while using environment resources more efficiently, then your eco efficiency and economic efficiency both will be ensured. So eco efficiency, eco stands not just for ecology or environment, it also stands for economic efficiency. Okay, so we are going to produce more by utilizing less. Obviously, my profit will be more, my raw material will be less, reduction in the energy intensity of goods and services will be less, recyclability will be more, durability will be more, reduction in the material intensity will be less. Okay, so again, we have best available sustainable technologies nowadays. Then we have green chemistry in pharma industry, for example. Earlier, 1 liter of pharma, you could pollute 10,000 liters of water, clean water. That is the level of pollution a pharma industry can create because of the kind of chemicals and because of the kind of recalcitrant compounds which were there in the pharma industry effluent. So now the pharma industry has realized कि जो भी मैं फेंक रहा हूँ, whatever effluent is going out by a combination of so many deadly chemicals, it is my raw material only. So as per the first law of thermodynamics, whatever goes inside your system, that only comes out. So if you are creating some pollution in what you have to first understand what was going inside, where it went wrong and why it is coming out. इस वहां से आने की बजाय ये मेरे प्रोडक्ट में अगर निकल के आए तो बेटर रहेगा ना. एफ्लुएंट में आने की बजाय जो भी मैं केमिकल्स डाल रहा हूँ, आई एम एडिंग देम टू मेक सम काइंड ऑफ मेडिसिन, some tablet, some pharma product from for some or some API, active pharmaceutical ingredient. Okay, so those concepts are understood by the industry कि जो भी बाहर वेस्ट जा रहा है वो वेस्ट को मैं रिसोर्स की तरफ कन्वर्ट कर सकता हूँ. Okay, so now they are going for each kind of tablet or medicine or API, active pharmaceutical ingredient, they are establishing different units. अब वो यूनिट से जो भी स्ट्रीम निकल रही है, अर्लियर ऑल स्ट्रीम्स यूज्ड टू get together and go to the effluent plant. Now they are segregating those streams, and after segregation, they are installing a solvent recovery plant. So that solvent recovery plant, through many distillation and precipitation processes, recovers the solvent which was coming in the effluent and gives it back through the raw material, so that the water that comes out of the industry is having lesser of chemicals, more of clear water. Okay, so eco efficiency is going for low specific consumption of resources. So if I am using 20 liters of water for manufacturing one pair of jeans, next year I am going to change my technology to a level that I utilize 10 liters of water. Okay, be it steam, be it kind of spray, be it kind of other methods, organic dyeing, organic cloth should be acquired through the market, so less of water is required for its cleaning and washing and dyeing. Okay, so all those concepts are now being understood, and nowadays economic efficiency is equal to eco efficiency. Again, star rating system of BE, I have already explained. It is also energy efficiency. So all those features help us to reach sustainability. So these are some of the principles of green chemistry, which is now being utilized by so many industries. So to ensure that the approach that is being followed by them for the minimization of hazardous effects of the effluent from their industry is least. So it incorporates waste prevention, atom economy, less hazardous chemical synthesis, safer chemical designing, safer solvents and auxiliaries, safer chemistry for accident prevention, catalysis, reduced derivatives, designed for degradation. The products which they are designing it so that it degrades on its own. So whole life cycle of the product, right from the acquisition of raw material to the final disposal of the waste that is generated from that technology. Whole supply chain is now thought of to be as green. Okay, then only it is going to give you maximum production in least resources. Okay, now there are some countries like Malaysia where there are tax incentives for green technology. So अगर आप green technology बना रहे हो, you will be getting a reduction in your taxes as an industry. So those kind of things are coming up globally, and sooner or later India is also going to take up all those initiatives to ensure that we create sustainable technologies. Similarly, we have a Niti Aayog, where the clean energy sector is maturing itself, and even for agricultural purposes, like you can see, solar panels are being utilized for an agricultural farm. So all these kinds of initiatives are being taken up at different levels of government as well as private parties. Then India is again launching a $3.5 billion incentive for green cars. So these kind of incentives will help consumers as well to go for the अगर आप अभी IT रिटर्न किसी से जिसने रिसेंटली भरी है, अभी दिसंबर 31 लास्ट डेट है, तो उसमें आपको सब्सिडी मिलती है अगर आपने ग्रीन कार के ऊपर लोन लिया, आपने इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के ऊपर लोन लिया तो. Okay, so all those such initiatives by the government also drive us to go for green technologies and sustainable technologies. So these are the references which I have used for preparing this PPT. You can also consult those references, and please post some questions if you have. I'll be happy to answer them.